All right, hey guys, OFD checking in here on a Saturday evening, and I didn't think I should let a weekend go by without doing a review or a look at some watches. And actually, I thought it'd be kind of fun to take a look at my Seiko Quartz watch collection. So, if you guys know anything about my channel and where I started out, this watch was kind of the watch that started it all for me. Kind of got everything going. This is a Seiko 7548-700F that I purchased back in the early 1980s when I was a young kid, and this is the watch that really got it all started. And that's part of the reason why I do have quite a number of quartz watches in my collection, mostly Seiko quartz watches, because this watch has been with me for a better part of my life. I mean, I picked this watch up when I was about 12 years old, and it's been with me through as many adventures I could tell you all about. And it's been a really a tried and true timepiece. I mean, it's done everything it was supposed to do. It's been an absolutely great companion for me. Now, this watch a few years ago, I did actually have a jeweler here in town go through the watch, refurbish it, clean everything up, clean the indices, put new hands on the watch because the old ones were all corroded and blown out, put new bezel insert in there. That's why this one doesn't actually taper down to the dial, it tapered down to the crystal and actually had the crystal replaced. I do have all of the original parts for the watch, but I wanted to have the watch cleaned up, and I had a local jeweler do that, and it was somebody I've known pretty much since grammar school. So the watch is in great shape, and it's obviously the first watch in the quartz collection I would want to show you guys. And just a watch that's been with me forever. You can see on the back there, it has these watches always, anytime you get a Seiko quartz watch, and I'll show you more on the back of some of the other watches, actually just a couple actually, but you get the date indicator here of when the last battery change was. And you can see here, I had the battery changed in 84. So I do think I got this watch in like 81 or 82, which makes sense. Couple years, 2 to 3 years was all those batteries lasted, back in those days. Then again in 86, and it looks like I didn't have it stamped anytime after that, which is pretty interesting. Looking at the date range here for this serial number, I do believe this is like a May of 1981 model. So it makes sense given how long I've had the watch. But it's been a very great watch. All I do is every few years I have the battery replaced, and it's a really cool watch. I still wear it quite a bit. I don't wear it as often as I used to, just because, once I had it cleaned up and redone, I really don't want to bang it up all that much. So let's go ahead and go to the second timepiece. And I mean, there's not really any rhyme or reason as to how I'm doing this, but I kind of laid them out in the way I wanted to show them to you based on just basic quartz watch, and of course, most Seikos with date are going to have a day or a date function on them most of the time. I can't really think of any that don't have at least the day and the date, or a date function at least. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the second one here just a second. All right, so the next Seiko Quartz I wanted to show you in the collection. Oh, my bezel is off. I was actually wearing this watch just the other day. Maybe it's just a little bit off. No. Anyways, this is the what is this? The SBEE001. This is the Seiko Geoje diver. They make a 002, which is, there's not there. There it goes. Okay. Kind of had that off there, but this is one of two, I think, different models. They make a yellow and gold model and this blue and stainless steel version here. Really cool watch. The reason I threw this in next with the 7548 is because of the fact that it's just a simple quartz with the day and the date function there. As you guys can see, this does have the kanji date, and I have it always set for that kanji setup there. So really cool watch. I absolutely love this watch. This is a very modern piece. This is actually a numbered piece. I think at the bottom of the case here, you guys can see these are limited edition. This is 1,587 of 2,000 made in these watches. Gives you everything really about the watch. These are cased in China, movements made in Japan. Seikos are pretty much cased and built all over the world, but this is the Geoje design. Sorry if I'm butchering that. I'm probably just killing the pronunciation of that. But on its stock rubber strap, I really like these stock rubber straps that come on them. I really actually, this case design, the way it's set up here with these lugs, I don't really see how else you could do it. It's like, this is like 16 millimeters. You can actually take the strap off, but I think it would look pretty silly if you tried to stick it on a NATO strap. But this is a newer one to the collection. Absolutely love this watch. It wears super comfortable because this, especially obviously if you're right-handed and you're wearing it on your left wrist, it really is nice because you don't feel anything up against your hand when you're moving your hand around. But really cool watch to add to the collection. Really like the unique styling on this watch. That's the Seiko SB Dq. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next watch in my Seiko watch quartz collection. All right, so it's funny, I put this watch on today. Actually, I posted a picture of this on Instagram, and this is what kind of spurred me to do the quartz collection video. And this is the Seiko SND253P1, I think it is. This is the earlier version before they were the Pro Specs branded one. This is the Seiko BFK. This is a kinetic movement watch. The way these movements work is there's actually a rotor that runs around inside of there, runs a little kinetic generator that powers a capacitor, and it stores it in a capacitor. I don't really know it all. That's probably all BS, but it works on the movement, but it's not like an automatic. It's all based on electronics, and it basically has a little rotor in there that charges it like a generator and stores the energy. But these are watches that are very, you really got to wear them. I think they're best for a collection if you have only a few watches and you're going to wear this watch at least a few times a week. Now, I get the watch out and I shake it around and wind it at least once a week, so it keeps the movement going. But even at doing that, let's see. Let's go ahead and hit it there. Yeah, I've only got like a week's worth of charge on this watch, and I wore it today, and I've worn a lot. But you really want to see that sweep around halfway, and halfway across the dial, 30 minutes, and that'll show you have 6 months power reserves. Really hard to do on these watches. You really got to baby them and kind of keep up with that kinetic storage unit. Because if you're not wearing them a lot, these watches are going to basically stop working, and you're going to have to take a day of really working on getting it going and shaking it and moving around. Kinetic movement is very unique. I think it's a really cool movement for Seiko. I think if you live in an area where you don't have the ability to have a solar quartz movement, and maybe you don't have the ability to get batteries changed quite often, I think a kinetic could be really good because of the fact that if it's your one watch you're wearing, you can wear it for probably a couple of decades and get that keep that rotor working, especially if you're in an environment where you're working a lot, you're moving a lot, keeping this watch wound up. But the BFK from Seiko, I think if you're really a Seiko collector, these kind of have to be in the bucket there. A different watch. Some people don't really like it. Some people obviously don't like the kinetic movement because of the work it takes, but definitely a cool watch nonetheless. So let's move on to the next watch. All right, guys, so I looked down, I noticed I was like 7.5 minutes into this video, and I kind of want to kick it in because I don't want to lose you guys, because it can get boring after too long if you guys don't want to watch a 20-minute video. But here's two of the newest additions to the collection. This is the SNE498. This is a redo of the Golden Tuna, but with the solar VK157 or V157 movement. And then this is the SNE537. This is the newest in the Street series. Definitely very cool watches. And as a matter of fact, what I need to really do for you guys one day is do a side-by-side comparison of these two watches, because just looking at them like this, you can see there is quite a bit of difference in these two watches. I mean, it's really about what you like, but I mean, the watches offer a whole lot. Now, both have the same movement, and when fully charged, these watches, I think, have like a 10-month power reserve. So if you're in an area sunny like me in California, these are a really great addition. I love solar Seiko quartzes. These ones are really, really accurate. You guys can see those second hands hit right on the money, which I really appreciate. As a matter of fact, most, I think, of the Seikos that I'm going to show you tonight hit right on the money, which is really, really nice to have. These run the polymer shroud on them, so they're super lightweight. Very much remind me of a G-Shock. Maybe people have told me, oh no, they're not nearly as tough, but pretty doggone tough watches. I've done quite a bit of work, especially with this one. The 498. I've run Sawzall and chainsaw and chopped wood with it, and really done a whole lot of work you would never really want to do with a automatic watch. Now, a standard quartz, of course, it'll take it, but they're really tough watches, and so I plan to abuse this one in the same manner. Just really like both of these different styles that they offer in these solar tunas, and there's a lot more out there, guys. I'm going to leave links down below where you can pick up most of these watches. Not all of them. Obviously some of them are discontinued or have been gone for a long time. So, all right, guys, let's move on to the next watch. All right, guys, so I'm sticking with the solar, and but we're moving into the chronographs, and I have 3 chronograph watches, Seiko's. Now, this is the SSC511. It was actually from the Seiko Recraft series, came on a stainless steel bracelet. Hollow end links, I wasn't really that keen on the bracelet itself, but the watch itself has this just really cool retro look. I mean, taking a look at the dial there, you have a 24-hour sub-dial over here at 3 o'clock. You have your running seconds there down, or for the minutes for the chronograph, which you can gauge up here, and you guys can see that thing moving around, ticking like that. Looks great. And then you have your standard running seconds over there at the 9 o'clock position. Really, really cool watch. This is the Seiko Recraft SSC 511. Great offering, 100 meters of water resistance on this watch. So it's really kind of a go around, get it all done watch, adventure style watch. I actually wear this watch quite a bit. This was a gift from my wife, and I really like what this watch has to offer. Getting harder to find out there. You don't really see many of these available. I'll try to leave a link down below. If they are still available out there, I'll leave a link down below. But great size on the watch. It fits the wrist really well. I'm sure you guys are going to want wrist shots on all these watches, but I will tell you, I've done videos on every single one of these watches that I'm showing in the video, so you can get wrist shots if you go back through my videos and check out those videos. But anyways, cool watch here, the SSC 511 from the Seiko Recraft series. A great Seiko solar quartz to have in the collection. All right, guys, let's move along to the next watch. All right, guys, so if you watch my videos, you know this is kind of known as the reduced flighty, the SND253P1. Really cool watch. I have this one on a Blue Shark pajama style strap, but it's really a cool watch. To be honest with you, way more functions than I would actually ever use. You have the tach meter, you have all the measurements here. You can measure fuel consumption, miles an hour, you know, how many miles have passed, elapsed time, whatever. Chronograph function also on this watch, as you can see. Now this has the 1792 quartz chronograph movement, which has really cool, but you call it the whirling dervish up there. This one at the 12 o'clock position for that 1/20th of a second hand, which is a really neat function on the watch. I don't know how much you're going to actually use it, but it is fun to use and definitely something I like to watch spin around. Now you also have your standard running seconds over here at the 9 o'clock position on this watch, which is very nice to have. So much you can do with this watch. Always have a date function on the 1792 movements, but the SND253P1, definitely a pilot style watch. Calling it the reduced flighty because this one comes in more at the 40 millimeter mark instead of the 42 millimeter mark that you'd have on the standard, what's called the Seiko Flight Master, you know, hashtags there, or quotation marks. Yeah, quotation marks. You know, so anyways, I like it. I think the size is great. It kind of disappears on the wrist. This pajama strap from Blue Shark makes it even funner to wear, but a great watch. And you can find these things for like $100. I mean, they're just a really great bargain. And they really, you know, I mean, taking a look at the looks on this watch, look at the layout on the dial, 100 meters of water resistance for around $100 for a Seiko. You're getting a watch that's really going to last you a lifetime if you pick one of these up. Really cool watch. So, all right, guys, I've saved what I think is one of my favorite quartz watches in my collection for last, and it's the last chronograph that I have to show here on the channel. If you guys have stuck around for this whole video, I really want to thank you. And what I'm going to do at the very end is for all of you that stuck around, since they're Seikos, we're going to put all in a big pile and do a Loom Shot to go out with. Just a second, guys. Let's get to the next, or the last one. All right, guys, so here it is, the very last one, but not the least. This is probably one of my favorite watches in the collection, to be honest with you. Definitely in my quartz watch collections. This is a Seiko Sb Dq 003. There's an all titanium scuba labeled watch here. Also has the titanium on the dial. Also a chronograph, a diver's chronograph with 200 meters of water resistance. This watch, like the SND253P1, is running the 1792 chronograph movement. So it has all the same functions. You have that 1/20th scale up there at the top. You have your minutes down here at the 12 o'clock. Actually, that's not even minutes. I got to be honest with you guys. I forgot to mention this is minutes and hours. There's two hands at this 6 o'clock position here, and it will keep track up to 12 hours. Now, eventually this whirling dervish, I think at the 30-second mark, will stop spinning. But it's really neat because having that two-hand function makes it really a true, you know, pilot's chronograph watch that you can measure up to 2 hours or 12 hours of flight time or whatever it is with this. Maybe it goes for the full minute. But anyways, let me stop it to preserve battery life on this watch. You have the date window over here at the 4 o'clock position on this one, but just a really, really cool all-around watch, all titanium. One of the reasons it's my favorite watch in the collection is, to be honest with you guys, I've never been able to see another one of these or find another one. I've looked for these around. I happened to pick this one up on eBay a number of years back, straight out of Tokyo, and I only paid about $106 for the watch shipped to me, and I'm super, super happy with it. Like I said, you just don't see many of these watches around. But all right, guys, if you've stuck around to the end, let's go ahead and go out with the best thing. You've stuck around for the Loom Shot, so let me get them in a pile, and we'll show all the Loom on all these Seiko Quartz watches I have. All right, guys, well, typical pile of Seikos, if you look at that there, most of them are already glowing in some way, shape, or form. Now, this guy's an oldie. I got to tell you guys, this old one here, but let's go ahead and light these things up and see what we get. So guys, thanks for sticking around. Now, as you guys can see, I am definitely not a quartz snob or a automatic snob. I like them all. You know, I love automatic watches, but I don't, you know, I don't have the whole, oh God, the heartbeat and all that stuff going on. I really like, I like all watches, and quartzes the same way. Obviously, I started out my watch collecting as a kid with a quartz watch, this Seiko here. And it's been with me forever. So, all right, guys, thanks for sticking around. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up down there at the bottom. And if you've not subscribed to the OFD channel yet, please do. Please do. Thanks, guys.